platforms. So we're coming to you on TikTok, we're coming to you on Trovo in Europe, we're coming to you on 2 Facebook pages. We are also coming to you on Twitch. We are coming to you on 6 different platforms. And we normally do this at 7 a.m. Hawaii time, but we thought we'd do it in the evening because so many people are working. And I've had requests to do it at night. I've had requests to talk about these things in the evening. You know, everybody was like, "Well, Junior, can't you do it in the evening? Because we work all day. We're at work when you do this." So, so we're gonna discuss these things tonight. So, manifestation. What is it? How does it work? And how can you make it work for you? Well, you manifest things whether you think you do or not. And if you put my name in a search bar, you can see the things that I've manifested, or you can say it another way. You can say it as goals I've accomplished. So you can call it goals that you accomplish, or you can call it manifestation. Good morning, Jay. Surprise. Yeah, surprise. There we go. Okay, Jay is our moderator on TikTok. And so anyway, now when you're speaking of manifestation, right, what you're really speaking of is setting a goal and accomplishing it. Setting a goal and accomplishing it. Okay, but we've had to, look at this as a mystical thing. Now, Rhonda Byrne came out with her movie The Secret, which started the awareness. I want to say the awareness of it. And Rhonda Byrne has several books now. Hi, Lorena. Good morning or good evening, depending on where you are. So Rhonda Byrne came out with The Secret. Now, The Secret, right? Everybody was like, "Whoa, that's the secret." Like, what's the secret? Oh, if I do this, if I do that, like so everybody was kind of like looking at it as okay, how do I do this? A lot of my Christian friends were saying, "Oh, that's demonic. That's not right. That's demonic." And I had to laugh because it's not demonic. It's your subconscious. It's how we were designed. We were designed to do all of these things. Okay, we were designed to bring things into our world. Now, you can go about looking at things in different ways, okay? Because, in holy books, it says ye are gods. Okay, what does that mean? Well, that means you have the power to create. Okay, God is a creator. Okay, whoever you believe that to be, right? But you can create. You are a co-creator with that. So what it really is there is a divine energy, if you will, a divine energy that assists you. Okay, and that divine energy assists you in accomplishing things. It assists you in performing certain actions that will, achieve results. So let's look at the tree now. Okay, so the tree. Okay, imagine a tree. The roots are your subconscious beliefs. Okay, a belief is a thought you keep thinking. If you keep thinking a belief, thinking a thought, guess what happens? It turns into a belief. Okay, now you've installed it in your subconscious. One of the fastest ways is with one of these. Okay, the pen is mightier than the sword. So start writing. I am so happy and grateful now that, right? Okay, whatever. And you insert your goal here. I am so happy and grateful now that I have a job at XYZ company. That kind of thing. Okay, now imagine the tree. The roots are your subconscious beliefs. The trunk of the tree is your paradigm, or how you see the world, based upon the roots, based upon your core beliefs. Okay, now up here on the top of the tree, your actions. Okay, your actions are the fruits of the tree. Okay, now those fruits turn into, or you ripen into, results. Okay, so that's my imaginary tree to explain the process. But once you change your beliefs at the bottom, okay, and you start to, maybe you start to correct your speech. Maybe you start to correct yourself with certain actions, okay, and install certain beliefs. For example, when you're a child and your parents say, "Oh, don't play by the road or the street because you'll get hit by a car." Okay, now there's a little fear involved, okay? And fear just keeps you off your life path. That's all it does. Okay, so your life path is unfolding, 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 unfolding. Fear happens and your life path goes like this, and it goes like this, or it goes like that, or sometimes it just kind of slows down. Okay, so only fear and doubt push you off your life path. Now, what is your life path? Okay, what are we talking about when we say life path? Well, you were born with certain gifts. You were born with certain talents. You were born with certain abilities. Okay, now, for the longest time when I was a kid, I was like, I want to do this, I want to do that. If I put my name in a browser, okay, and this is not flexing, I'm here, I'm mentioning these things so that you can do it too, okay, because anybody can do it, okay, but you have to write your story. Okay, so when I was 12, right, I had all these fantasies. Oh, I want to be in entertainment. I want to do business. I want to do, these different things. And now when I put my name in a browser, I see all these things that I was fantasizing about at 12 years old, and it's all there now. Okay, it wasn't there 30 years ago, okay, but it's there now. So what I'm saying is first, you have this idea. Where does ideas come from? Where does all of this come from? There's only three things: the conscious, the superconscious, and the subconscious. Okay? So let's look at like what are these things, and let's look at it like a computer. Okay, so your operating software is your conscious mind. Now, your subconscious is your hard drive. That's where you install programs. Okay? What is the superconscious? The superconscious is the network, what we're all plugged into. Okay, so you can call it superconscious, you could call it God, you can call it consciousness, you could call it source. Okay? But the thing that we all have in common is energy, our energy. What do you call this in here? Do you call it a spirit? Do you call it soul? Do you call it energy? It's all of that. But when you start using this energy in the right way, because the kingdom is within, okay, this is not a religious life, okay, this is not a religious life, okay, but what I'm saying is, whatever you believe that's in here, okay, that's what it is. And everything is in here, but because we have eyes, we seek out there, okay, so there's only the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. Now, how do you accomplish a goal? How do you get this thing done? How do you get this goal accomplished, whatever it is you want to do? Okay, how do you change your life? How do you change things? Change outcomes. You change outcomes by changing actions. Okay, but if you perform random actions, okay, just random actions, you can do a random action right now for any purpose. But if you do a random action, guess what? Everything goes back to your paradigm, the trunk of the tree. Okay, everything goes back to that. You can do a random action up here where the fruits of the tree are, but then it all goes back to the paradigm, right? Your old habits, your subconscious beliefs. Okay, so your subconscious, the beliefs that are in your subconscious mind. Good morning, Mel. Good evening, Mel. I'm sorry. I do this at 7 o'clock every morning. So I think it's morning. It's probably morning somewhere. So we're on TikTok. We're on Trovo right now. We're on Twitch right now. We're on YouTube right now, and we're on two Facebook accounts right now. So anyway, all right. So forgive me. I'm used to sitting here in the morning. My office looks just like this in the morning. But anyway, so how do you change things? How do you get a different result from somebody else? How do you get a different response from somebody else? How do you get a different reaction from somebody else? You change this one. You change this one. Okay? If you really want someone else to change, you can't change them. They have their own free will. They have their own subconscious beliefs. They have their own thoughts. Okay? Just like you can't force someone to love you. If someone loves you, they love you. If they don't love you, you can't do anything about it. Okay? So, what do? Well, here. Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. Those four things. When you apply those four things to one thing, okay? You apply those things to one thing, it has to happen. You cannot not succeed. Okay? I've done this over and over and over for different things. And my life has only been about living my dreams. That's it. That's all I do. I just live my dreams. I focus on living my dreams, and I focus on other people's dreams, helping other people achieve their dreams. That's all I've ever done. I've been a teacher for 36 years, and for 36 years, I've developed people. Okay, so my company used to be called, my first company was a production company. It was called Imua Productions. My second company was a singing school called Voice Master Singing School. We were the first singing school in Hawaii. Before we came on board, the only way you could get a voice teacher was to know someone in the entertainment industry, and they would refer you to one of two ladies. Okay. We came along and we took everything public. We went in the phone book. Okay. The funny part was we went in the phone book the first year, and we were the only ones for 1 year. The second year, there were 11 voice teachers, right? And we were like, how did that happen? And then we found out, the salespeople were responsible for that. The salespeople went to other music people and go, why don't you offer voice? Why don't you, giving them ideas. They weren't voice teachers. Okay, I had classical music training. I had training. But, so when something like that happens, what's your natural response? My natural response was, right? Like, I was young. When I started teaching, when I started all of this, I was 28 years old. Okay, so, and naturally I was in the competitive mind state. Now, let's talk a second about that. There's the competitive mindset and there's the creative mindset. You can belong to one or the other. Okay, if you are in the competitive mindset, you are suggesting to yourself that there's not enough and you have to compete and you have to go get yours. You have to get yours. There's not enough money. There's not enough money. There's not enough resources. There's not enough this. There's not enough that. I have to compete. I've never had competition, ever, ever. Because the way I teach voice and the way I teach my life coaching and the way I teach human beings are very, very different. The way I teach self-development. Okay, so the official title of my teaching is Motivational Self-Development Through the Human Voice. What does this do? Well, I'm gonna pull up a tab right here that's going to help me in explaining everything. Okay, it's called The Science of Confidence. Now, the science, you can go to the website. It's hereforyoulifecoaching.com and look at the Science of Confidence. Okay, now the Science of Confidence, how it works. How does a human voice settle you down here? How does it change your life? How does it make you confident? And what is confidence? Confidence is a centered, relaxed feeling. Okay, now we're talking abundance versus lack with confidence. Okay, with confidence, you have abundance. With confidence, everything is clear. Everything is settled. Okay, with confidence, everything is pono, which is what we say in Hawaii. Okay, I know you may be watching this in Europe right now in Trovo. Well, what is pono? Okay, so pono is when everything in here is as it should be. Okay, we can say it that way. Now, what happens with the human voice? How have I been changing lives with the human voice? Well, when you take a tone and you express it with power, with strength, with velocity, what happens is you start activating neurotransmitters. Okay, it releases endorphins, oxytocin. Okay, what happens to your GABA? Okay, GABA starts to calm. It calms the nervous system, reducing anxiety and internal chatter. You know, when your brain is going like this, your brain can't stop thinking, you're overthinking. Okay, so it remedies all of those things. We make no medical claims. Okay, we have to do that by law. We have to say that. Cortisol reduction, the fight or flight syndrome, it reduces, so that when this happens, when this chemical process happens, for let's say you go through a few cycles of this, we can't call it a treatment. Essentially, that's what it is, but I can't call it that because medical boards will get after me. But that's not it's not unlike that. But several cycles of this. So what is a cycle? Okay, 1 hour a week. So we do 1 hour a week, okay, for 4 weeks, and you start to calm. Okay, you start to relax. And how does this work? Well, the hormonal stimulation. And what happens with the hormonal stimulation? What's the result? The result is you're calm. Things don't bother you. Anxiety goes away. I work with military people and get rid of their PTSD. Okay. For years and years and years, people come to me. Professionals come to me. My life coaching clients are professionals. Okay, they're CEOs, they're attorneys, doctors, those kinds of people come to me, and they make budgets. They make budgets into their monthly, budget to come and see me. And what happens? Well, every single client that I deal with has gotten a raise or a promotion or an increase in clients or all of that. Okay. And I work with a doctor right now, and he is so calm. His stress has gone away. Guess what happens when that happens? He becomes a better doctor. Okay. So I also have I used to have a surgeon. Okay, this guy was an internationally known surgeon that works here in Honolulu. He's from here. He's from Oahu. Internationally known surgeon. He became so calm and so confident, he became a better surgeon. Okay, so I'm in it to create better people. I'm not in it to create the best singers. Okay, because anybody can sing. Anybody can sing. Okay. Hi Yoko, I see you. So I have two cameras. I have one camera up there. How you guys for my Facebook in Hawaii, and then I have the international camera down here. So so sorry you guys. But anyway, my aim is always to create a better person. When you create, anybody can sing, okay? But you cannot sing if you're like this, if you're locked up like this inside, okay? You're like this, you cannot sing. You're like this, you cannot think good. You're like this, you cannot perform well. I don't care what you do. I don't care what your profession is, okay? And some people are running like this, okay? Day in, day out, all the time. Okay, so what do you need to do? You need to go from here to here to here to here to open. Open means abundance. This is lack. This represents lack. This is abundance. Okay, the abundance is like this. You're open. You're open to suggestions. You're open to love. You're open to, right? Open. Okay, so I open people every week. Okay. Like this is another visual. Like this, like this, like this, like this, open. Children come to me. Parents bring their children to me. Okay, normally they bring them to the singing school because you don't want to, it's very, doing what I do is very tough because, if you say, hey, you should go see Junior, he's a life coach, he can help you with that. It's like telling somebody something's wrong with them, right? And if you send them to the singing school, that implies that they can't sing, So, but people have over the years they read the reviews. Okay, so we have reviews. Let me show you where it is, so you can just go to it. Okay, if you go to, and I'm gonna show you the life coaching side. Okay, if you go to the life coaching on Google, okay, like this. Okay. You can see we have 44 5-star reviews. We don't have anything less than a 5-star review. So if you go here, you guys want to see that up there on Facebook? I know it's kind of like there are 44 5-star reviews. 44 here, TikTok, Trovo, Twitch, 44 5-star reviews. Just search for Here For You Life Coaching in Honolulu. The reason why is because this works on every human being. The reason why is that these people get off medicines. Now, we make no medical claims, okay? The getting off medicine part is their part, not my part. I don't tell anybody to get off medicine. But here's what's real. God lives in here, okay? However you believe, if you want to call it higher self lives in here, if you want to say God lives in here, if you want to say Allah lives in here, if you want to say Jesus Christ lives in here, okay, but Jesus Christ told us that the kingdom is within. Okay, everything is inside. The solution to all of your problems are inside. Everything is in here. But we have eyes. We get distracted. We seek out there. We think so-and-so has the solution. We think that person has our solution. We think our solution lies out there. No, your solution is in here. But you have to just be still for a while. You have to just be quiet and be still and know. Know like you know, like you know. So many people pray, right? Everybody prays, or everybody I know prays, okay? But they don't meditate. Most of them don't meditate. Meditate is sitting still, being still, because when you become still, you can feel your instructions. Okay, so how does the subconscious training work? Well, first, the roots of the tree. Okay, let's look at that again. Let's look at the tree. So the roots are your subconscious beliefs, your core beliefs. You ever try to do something that violates your core beliefs? It's very difficult. It's very difficult to do something that violates your core beliefs. I have professionals. I call them high-powered professionals. Okay, I call them high-powered professionals because they have very demanding jobs. Okay, but I call them high-powered professionals because they, you know, they have these demanding jobs, and when they become in flow state, or when things get more porno for them, or when things get easier here, okay, the prison is here, the prison is here. But when this becomes clear, you can work in flow state. Everything is manageable. Everything flows. Everything comes together like that. Okay? And when that happens, doctors become better doctors. Lawyers become better lawyers. Business people become better business people. Okay? Because now they're clear. Okay? They're not cluttered with thoughts. How do you change your thoughts? Have you ever deliberately tried to anticipate your next thought? Try. Here's another thing to think about. Okay, human beings can observe themselves in motion. We can observe ourselves in motion. Animals only have this experience. They can just look out that way. That's all they know. We can observe ourselves, which is what leads to negative self-talk, right? Because we observe ourselves. Then we start telling ourselves what we're doing wrong, okay, and critiquing ourselves in motion, which leads to low self-esteem. So, what's the solution? The solution is to quiet this one, okay? Now here's another thing, right? Heaven and hell are here, okay? You can be tormented here forever, for your entire physical existence, okay? You can be tormented, and your thoughts can just keep going like a runaway train, and keep going until you crash one day. Or you can enjoy a very calm, peaceful life. Okay, do I enjoy a calm, peaceful life? Yeah, most of the time, the majority of the time. And how do I do that? Well, here, let me show you. Okay, so I show my morning crowd this every morning. Okay, this is the old one. These are not this is not journaling. These are affirmations. Okay, affirmations. Right, there you go, affirmations. This is the new one. Okay, I'm just working a little bit on that one. Okay, this is the new one. Okay, but every day I write an affirmation. Now, why am I doing this every day? Why do you have to do this every day? Because your subconscious is like a muscle. You have to exercise it. You have to tell it what to do. Your subconscious doesn't know right from wrong. It doesn't know fantasy from reality. Okay, but you have to give it a job. Now, I have ADHD. Okay, I have a busy brain. You're very welcome, Yoko. I have a very busy brain. So when you put my name online, when you search my name, you'll see my family of service companies. You'll see different businesses that I own. You'll see different things that I've done. If you go to Facebook, we have a Facebook page for all of our companies, and you can see everything that we've ever done because we post everything. Okay, so after the pandemic, I didn't post so much, and I didn't do so much. I didn't do so much with certain companies. Okay, but I started life coaching during the pandemic because there was a lot of people that needed my help. And now, with the state of the world, and people are very very nervous about things, filled with anxiety about things, and they come to me for that purpose. Military people come to me for PTSD, and when they come for PTSD, their symptoms are minimized. Okay, your voice can heal you. Your voice can heal you if you apply it correctly. Okay, But if you look at that tree, that subconscious tree that I keep talking about, okay, and if you follow the process, okay, and if you install your new beliefs, now you can't wipe the slate clean and install everything, but 15 to 20% is all you need. Okay, now let's say for example you were talking about work-life balance. I work with professionals. I work with people like attorneys and doctors and people like that. Okay, now those people and business people that supervise other people. Okay, so let's say that this is the 50% line, and let's say this is work and this is life. This is your work-life balance. Okay, let's say that your work starts creeping up on you, and now it pulls you like this, and now this is life and this is work. Okay, let's say it pulls you some more like that, and now this is work and this is life. This represents going home late. This represents having, maybe only time to cook the kids dinner and then go to sleep to do this again. Now it's off balance. What do you need to do? You need to pull it back to center like this. Okay, I do this for my professionals all the time. We discuss this all the time, every week sometimes. Every week. Okay, now let me give you another scenario for this. Let's call this positive. Let's call this negative. Okay, so with positive, negative. Okay, some people think, oh, I have to be 85% positive in my life. I have to be Miss Positivity or Mr. Positivity. Okay, here, this is 50%. You need to go 1% over the line, like this, just 1%. That's all. Now, the majority of your life is positive, and it's only 51%. Okay? So if it's work-life balance, okay, or whether we're talking positive, negative, okay, the amount of positivity in your life, okay, and then the negativity over here, you can go 55%. But to say, sometimes I ask some of my clients when I first meet them, I go, okay, give me an idea of positivity in your life. Like, what percentage would you say it is? And most of them will say, oh, like I'm 80% positive. I'm like 90% positive. There's only 10% negative. I'm like, yeah, right. You know how hard that is? You know how tough that is? But if you just go 51%, 1% over the halfway mark, now the majority of your life is positive. And over here, okay, the minority, the smaller part, the smaller portion is negative. That's all that's necessary. Okay, so, but, well, how do we go about this? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. It brings me everything. Now, people on my Facebook page, okay, people on my Facebook page, other Facebook, we have a camera for Facebook up there, and my international cameras are here. Okay, so, but people on my Facebook page, I post my Facebook stories all the time to show them how to manifest. All the time. Okay, vision boards. So here, the number one way to influence your subconscious, okay, or let's say it another way, to change your subconscious beliefs is visualization. So for me, right, this is not a vision board. This is a gratitude board. Okay, so you have to be in the middle. You have to be in the middle, and everything else has to be around you. Now, I teach people how to do these. We haven't really taught anybody for a long time, but we teach people how to do this on Facebook stories or Instagram stories. It works the same way. But you put a picture of yourself in the middle and all of your goals. Let's call it goals, okay? Manifestation is goals. Okay, it's not witchcraft, it's not voodoo, it's not any of that. And you don't put your faith in it. It's not something you put your faith in, okay? It's your actions, right? Giving you results. You want to change the actions, change the beliefs in your subconscious. That changes your paradigm. Your paradigm changes your actions, and your actions change your results. Okay. So let me tell you Hoku's story real quick let me finish this first. Okay, so I have these things, right? But when I see these things, it reminds me to be grateful. I have my company logo, I have one of my albums there. It makes me grateful, right? I see this and I go, thank you, thank you. This reminds me to be grateful. So it's a gratitude board. A vision board looks something like this. So this is like for my next lease that I made. Let me show you right here. I haven't been using this too much lately. I've been working more on gratitude, but this is my vision board for my next lease. I did this with my last car. I do this with every car. I don't take anything for granted. So what are you talking about, Uncle? So here's what I'm talking about. If you have a goal, let's say your goal is to work for, I don't know, Costco. Everybody knows Costco, right? It's like universal almost, right? Take a picture of the Costco logo and put it on your lock screen. Put a picture of money on your lock screen because that's what you want. That's why. You only have to know the want and the why. The how is always God's job. Don't worry about the how. You know, a lot of people ask me, oh, I got to figure out how I got to do this. No. I didn't figure out the how from my digital VMAC consultants, my consultant company. I wasn't even worried about the how. And the very first client that we had was a national chain of pharmacies. Okay, that was my first client. We were tested by fire. Tested by fire just means we were given a huge bunch of work right away. Like, boom, it was overwhelming almost. Okay. But here's the thing, right? Visualization is the first and strongest to the subconscious. What's the second? Audio. Okay. So now that being said, right? The number one thing that your subconscious recognizes is you. Okay, go look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. Okay, your subconscious recognizes you more than anyone. Why? Because it's you. Okay. What else? Well, it recognizes your voice. Okay, so speak your dreams. Right? Declare things. You know, for my very first one of my, well, it was my second lease. It was years ago. Okay, it was like almost 10 years ago. I decided that I was leaving this one car company after getting so many of their cars. Right, I bought several of their cars. Every 3 years, I was buying a new car, you know, whatever, and I was doing it the same way. Vision board. So affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. That's how I did it. If you go on my Facebook account and go look at my albums, there's car albums. And I put all the cars there. And people thought, like, you know, I don't know what they thought, but maybe they thought that, you know, I had money like overflowing in my bank account. I didn't have to. There's two ways to wealth. You can store up all your money like a squirrel stores up nuts, okay, in a bank. Or you can invest all your money into a stock market that goes like this, okay? Or you can use what God gave you here. And when you need something, it shows up. Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. Have you ever been thinking about somebody and then you run into them in the mall? Have you ever been like really hungry for something? Like, oh, I really want a hamburger, Somebody just kind of gives you a hamburger? You ever had that happen to you? Somebody go, hey, I'm bringing lunch. What do you want? Hamburger. Boom, there you go. You see? Okay, there's something very, very powerful in here. Okay, that's why Jesus Christ said that the kingdom is here. Okay, this is not church. Okay, I'm just telling you, you have more power in here than you realize. You have the power to heal yourself. Okay, so I'm going to show you this book. Right, I don't get any commissions or anything from this book. Okay, Dr. Joseph Murphy, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Okay, he makes a lot of biblical references in here because a lot of the Bible is about your subconscious mind. Okay, and manifestation. Okay, I have a whole list of biblical chapters that you could look at. Okay, this is my book, The Universal Law of Attraction and Singing. The law of attraction, like attracts like. Okay, like energies attracts like energies. Okay, so when I wrote my book is not about how to sing, although there's a little bit of that in there. Okay, but this book is not about that. This book is about how people change their lives through their voices. This book is about this. You know, there's this one lady in this book, one story in this book. Her husband died in her arms in a boating accident 2 months after they got married. She was like this when she walked into my office, like this, on you know, medicine. Okay. We had her express through her voice, express through her voice in 9 months. No medicine. In 9 months. Calm. And what happened after that? She lived a normal life. Her story's in here. Another lady had this marriage that she didn't know how to get out of. She didn't know what to do. She was trapped in her marriage. And guess what happened? She saw what I did with her daughter, and she goes, "Does that work with everybody?" I said, "Yeah, it works with every human being." She goes, "Can I try that?" And I'm like, "Sure." So I did it with her, right? And guess what happened? Like 7 months later, she walks in my office. She goes, "You'll never guess what happened." I'm like, "What?" She goes, "I got a divorce." And I'm like, "Whoa, okay." You know, because it's none of my business what goes on with my clients, right? And but there's tons of stories in here, tons of stories like this. Okay, when you find your voice, you find yourself. That's right, Nalani. Thank you, Nalani. Aloha. Good evening. So I have my Facebook camera up there, and I have my international camera down here. So, but that's what the voice does. Okay, energy, frequency, vibration, and we add velocity to that. Okay, and there are only three things: the conscious, the subconscious, and superconscious. That's it. Superconscious is God or consciousness. Okay, if you want to look at it in computer terms, okay, the conscious mind is your operating system, the frontal lobe of your brain processes all your thoughts. Okay, then the subconscious is your hard drive where you store all your programs. Okay, the superconscious is the network that we're all plugged into. Have you ever tried to anticipate your next thought? Think about that. Okay, here's another thing to think about. If you can observe yourself speaking and thinking, who's doing the observing? Who's observing you do that? How does that work? Okay. There is power in here that certain entities, okay, don't want you to be aware of. And because we have eyes, we're always distracted and always looking out like that. Always. When the real answers are all in here. If you ask yourself a question, your subconscious is obligated to answer you. Okay? Try it. Ask yourself a question. Your subconscious will answer, and the answer that you keep getting is the answer. Okay? But we don't trust intuitive thought. We don't trust our answers. Okay? We don't trust. We go, it couldn't be that. Because we have been taught to doubt ourselves. Okay? Humility. Hi, Janelle. Humility is not thinking less of yourself. Humility is thinking of yourself less. Thinking of the other person first. What can I do for so-and-so? What can I do for him or her or them? How can I serve them? How can I do for them? That's the reason I built service companies. When you put my name in any browser, you'll find all of our companies and you'll go, wow, okay, who is this guy? He does all kinds of stuff. Like, who is he really? Right? Okay. I've done many things, but the only things that I do are things associated with my dreams and fantasies. That's all I do. I live my dreams and fantasies. That's all I do. If it's not something that I dreamt of doing or something I'm interested in, or, but I had many interests because I look at life like a Baskin and Robbins, right? Why would you go through life doing one thing? Why would you go through life doing one job? I mean, for me, I'm not judging anybody, okay? I'm just saying for me. And with my ADHD, my brain needs a job all the time. So the amount of work I do is phenomenal. Okay, I hyper focus and I just get work done, and I just get work done. Okay, but when I looked at life at 12 years old and I was dreaming of things I do as soon as I get out of the house, right? I had my mom put me on the plane when I was 17 years old. I'm out of here. I'm out. I'm going on my life adventure. I'm done. I'm out. And my mom was more than happy to drive me to the airport. Okay? Because I was frustrated. I was like, let me do this adulting thing, right? And boom, I was gone. Now, when I search my name online, okay, I see everything I was fantasizing about when I was 12. How did that happen? How did it happen? Thoughts become things. Okay, thoughts become things. When you think a thought often enough, it becomes a belief. So what are you thinking? Right? Are you thinking, I am smart, I am capable, I'm unstoppable, I'm intelligent? So the first thing I have my clients do is write down 100 positive I ams about themselves, and then I have them read it out loud. Normally, when they first become my clients and they're not used to everything I teach them, okay, I don't have them go in front of the mirror. But if you go in front of the mirror and you do this, okay, it's powerful. Why is it powerful? Is an evil spirit gonna jump out of the mirror? No. It's powerful because your subconscious recognizes you first. Your subconscious hears you first. It responds to your voice the most. It responds to your image the most. Because it's you, because you live with you, because you're there. It's you. Okay? So when you get up in the morning, when you're combing your hair or brushing your teeth, or when you're done brushing your teeth, look in the mirror and love what you see. And tell what you see that you love it. Okay, look in the mirror and go, wow, you did real good yesterday. Today you're gonna have a great day. You're a fantastic human being. Now get out there and make a difference in society. There you go. There you go. That's your pep talk right there. I talk to myself all the time in the mirror. I gotta admit, when I first did it, it felt kind of weird. Felt kind of different, right? It felt kind of like, whoa. But then it became empowering, and then I was unstoppable. And I worked with a lot of people in different I want to say in different professions. And I had to go through some very, very, let's say, challenging and toxic work environments. And I had to deal with those people. I had to shield myself so that when I got to my office, right, after I worked with them, and I got to my office to do my thing, that I didn't bring that negative energy into my company, that I didn't bring that negative energy into my place of business, that I didn't bring that negative energy into where my sanctuary was. And you learn to do this. Okay, how do you learn to do this, Uncle? Affirmations, meditation, focalization, visualization. And you target it all at one thing first. Okay, it takes 63 days to form a new habit. 63 days. Can you write an affirmation for 63 days, the same affirmation? Start with confidence. I am so happy and grateful now that I am confident. Thank you. Now do that. Do that for 63 days. I can tell you if you do it for 2 weeks, you're going to feel the first shift in 2 weeks. 14 days, you're going to feel the shift. When you feel the shift, what does it feel like? Well, you kind of start believing in yourself. You kind of start going, wow, yeah, this feels pretty cool. Okay, what if you do it in the mirror? Read it in the mirror all the time. Read your affirmation out loud. First you write it, then you speak it. Okay. If you can think it and you can write it and you can speak it, you can live it. I do it all the time for different things. I still write affirmations every day. You'd be surprised what I write and what comes out, So now in society, we're in a spiritual war, right? We have a spiritual war going on. We have evil people going up against people that are trying to be good. Okay, so you have people that are trying to be as evil as they can, And then you have people that are trying to be as good as they can. Okay, it's a spiritual war. Where's the spirit? In here. It's in here. The kingdom is in here. Some spirits don't have any love. They don't come from love. If you're not coming from love, what's the other side? Fear. Fear strikes out. Fear lashes out. Fear tries to do something because it's afraid. It's afraid of something. Love, on the other hand, is strength. Love is a strength. If you can love, you're strong. Okay? It doesn't take strength to be fearful. Okay? It doesn't take any strength to fear, but it takes strength to love. You know, some people, when they say they love hard, I love hard, right? They put a lot of energy into their love. Now, I'm not talking about I'm not talking about the Valentine's Day kind of stuff, okay? That's nonsense. That's commercialism. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the energy you were born with before life happened. You were born in love. Most people were. Some people were violated. Yeah, get it. I get it. Okay. But you can restore that if life has happened in such a way that you're no longer feeling it. Okay? It can be restored. You can restore it. How do you do that? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. There is only the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. That's it. That's all there is. There is no out there, out there. God is not up there. God is in here. Okay? The only thing out there is nature and other things from someone else's in here. That's all that's out there. That's all that exists. So you can call it manifestation, you can call it goal setting. Call it goal setting. Make a goal, write it down. Now go after it. Take the baby steps towards it. You don't need to know how. The how is God's job. God will do it his way or her way. However you believe, whatever you believe, its way. Okay? But the how is always God's job. The how is not your job. You don't have to figure out how you're going to do it. You have to just walk towards it, and the doors will open. The doors will open. I didn't even know anything about consulting when I started my consulting company. But I started my consulting company because I was told by a Chinese master, right? My Feng Shui master. He goes, "Oh, you're good at this, this, this." He said, "You should be in marketing." My first client was a multi-million-dollar client. National chain. It just happened. I didn't go look. I didn't even have to look. It came to me. It came to me. I have many clients that have had that experience, right? They come to me, they go, "Oh, well, I want to do this, this, this." I'm like, "Okay, write this down." Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. Meditation, 10 minutes a day. Can you do 10? In the beginning, they go, "Yeah, I can do 10. I'm like, let me see. I want to see that, right? Start with 5. Okay, 5 is a big number when you're meditating. Now, what do you have to do? Do you have to do Indian words? No, just be still. Just be still and listen. What am I listening for? You're listening for intuitive thought. That's what you're listening for. Okay, be still. Be still and know. When you're still, you will know. It will find you. I can't tell you how many times I just wrote down an affirmation. Okay, and I know this is going to sound funny, but I wrote down an affirmation one time. I am so happy and grateful now that I have a new playmate. 2 weeks later, this stunning girl from one of the stands, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, one of the stands near Russia. And she knocked on my office door 2 weeks after I wrote the affirmation. And I knew it was her because nobody else showed up. Nobody else other than my regular clients showed up. And this girl showed up out of the blue. And I can tell you it was a wonderful 3 months. And then she was gone just as fast as she came. How did that happen? Right? So I thought, well, maybe that's a coincidence. Let's try it again. So ever since then, every time I had free time or I was lonely or whatever, I wrote it down. I am so happy and grateful now that I have a new playmate. Guess what? The next girl came. How does that happen? Because your subconscious communicates with the superconscious. The superconscious is the network that we're all plugged into. The law of one. Everything is connected. All you have to do is exercise your subconscious. Some people are numb. Some people are not feeling anything. Why? They're distracted with their eyes. They're distracted like this. They're distracted like this all day. All day like this. Looking like all day like that. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not judging. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. Okay, I'm like this all day, but I'm like this all day because my companies are here. My work is here. My numbers are here. This morning, this afternoon, we crossed 10 million views on my Facebook account. My TikTok has 150,000 followers. Facebook, I think I have 36,000, something like that. But that's what we work on here. We live in here. We work in here. Okay? Some people just use this for mindless entertainment. Okay? Just scrolling, watching funny things, whatever. Okay, that's okay too. Everybody needs entertainment. But here's the thing, right? Your time is your life. Be careful what you do with your time. You only have so much time. Okay, I'm going to be topsoil pretty soon. We don't know when. Okay, pretty soon could be 20 more years if I'm lucky. Okay, maybe 30 years if I'm lucky. But your time is your life, so give some of your time. Give your time to others. I always give my time to others, always. I always make time for people. Because when you make time for people, you're serving your Creator. When you're doing your meditation, you're listening to your Creator. I see people pray all the time. Oh, I'm praying for this, I'm praying for that. You know, I need prayer warriors for this, prayer warriors for that. But are you meditating? Are you listening? Or are you just speaking? You're just asking. You need to listen. Because when you tune in more to your intuitive voice, it will guide you to what you need to do. It will guide you to what you want. It will guide you to who is right for you. It will guide you to the right job. You're going to have to work. You might as well do something you love. You might as well do something that you can't wait to get to work. I can't wait to get to work tomorrow because I get to do this again. That kind of feeling, okay? When I get up in the morning, I rush in here to my laptop, right? When I get to work in the morning, I'm like, I can't wait to get started. I can't wait to get on with my clients. I can't wait to see their improvement. And week by week, they improve better and better and better. They get better and better and better. Their lives get better and better and better. And then I hear the stories. Normally, when I have a nurse that I just got off with yesterday. I got off an appointment call with her. So we do FaceTime. And I got off the call with her yesterday, and she was very, very alarmed 2 weeks ago because she wasn't finding a job. There was no job. She applied. She never heard back from the hospital. And here's what I told her. I said, write this affirmation. I am so happy and grateful now that I have the perfect job for me. Thank you. That was her affirmation. She wrote it down. She kept writing. And I said, Michelle, you have to be in a good mood. You have to be in a good mood because you have to marry intention with emotion. And this was 2 weeks ago. And 2 weeks ago, she was like, oh, I don't know, I'm scared. I'm not getting, I'm running out of money, and I'm stuck, and blah blah blah, right? Nervous, anxiety. So I said, all right, let's work with your voice, and I worked with her voice. And I said, we just need to keep you happy, Michelle. That's all. We need to keep you happy. There's a reason why happy wife, happy life, okay? or happy female. Okay, because they multitask. Females can multitask because they raise children. Okay, but that's why when you keep them happy, they manifest all kinds of things. They bring in all kinds of things. Okay, when they're not happy, everything starts to go out. And she was very nervous. And because she was nervous, hi TJ, hey Janelle, because she was very nervous, right? I told her, no, we need to keep you happy. And so we worked on that. I said, if you need extra sessions, I'll give it to you. Don't worry about it, no charge. But we have to keep you happy so you can get your job. Yesterday, I hopped on with her on FaceTime. I said, Michelle, how's it going? She goes, the hospital finally called me back and I got my job. And I was like, yeah. Okay, so she got her job. Okay, but these are the high performance professionals that I talk about. That's what I call them, high performance professionals. Anyway, but that happened. So Michelle has her job. And I told Michelle, don't stop doing this. Keep doing this. Yep, tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. So my moderator is yep. my moderator is so on it. She is so on it. Thank you, Jay. Tomorrow morning, see you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. It's time to go. It's been an hour, but I will tell you, if you want to change your entire life, okay, manifest, so affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization, because there is only the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious, okay? And we're all connected. So be nice to each other, okay? Make things work with each other, cooperate with each other, collaborate with each other, and everybody will get ahead together, okay? If you're not feeling good, don't do your affirmation. Wait till you feel good and then put that energy out there, okay? God bless you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. This ends our international feed.